Welcome to Book Mint. Why is it that some people seem to achieve their goals with effortless precision, while others struggle to even get out of bed on time? Is it luck? Is it talent? Or is it something much more fundamental? Today, we are diving deep into a transformative book that cracks the code on human potential. Self-Discipline Mindset. Why self-discipline is lacking in most and how to unleash it now. This isn't just another self-help guide. It is a blueprint for taking back control of your life. We will explore why our brains are wired for laziness, how the modern world drains our willpower, and most importantly, the step-by-step strategies to unleash an unstoppable version of yourself. If you've ever felt like you're capable of more, but just can't seem to stay consistent, this podcast is for you. Before we begin, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who needs a wake-up call, and subscribe to Book Mint for more deep dives into life-changing books. Let's unlock the power of discipline. Chapter 1. The True Definition of Self-Discipline and the Freedom Paradox. Most people view self-discipline as a form of punishment. They associate it with deprivation, restriction, and a lack of freedom. They think of the person who wakes up at 4 a.m. to run in the rain as someone who is missing out on the comforts of life. However, the book begins by flipping this perspective on its head. Self-discipline is not about being a prisoner to rules. It is the ultimate form of freedom. Think about it deeply. If you cannot control your impulses, you are a slave. You are a slave to your moods, your cravings, your social media notifications, and your environment. When you want to work but end up scrolling through your phone for 3 hours, you aren't being free. You are being controlled by an algorithm designed to exploit your dopamine receptors. Real freedom is the ability to choose what you want most over what you want right now. The author explains that self-discipline is like a muscle. This is a crucial metaphor. Just like a physical muscle, it can be strengthened through resistance and exercise, but it can also be fatigued if overused without proper recovery. Most people lack discipline because they have never trained this muscle. They live in a world of instant gratification where every whim is catered to. When things get difficult, their discipline muscle is too weak to handle the load, and they revert to their comfort zone. To unleash discipline, you must first accept that it is a skill to be learned, not a personality trait you are born with. You are not born lazy or born disciplined. You are simply the product of your training. This chapter challenges the listener to stop looking at discipline as a burden and start looking at it as the key to the golden gate of their own potential. Without discipline, talent is wasted and dreams remain fantasies. With it, even a person with average talent can reach extraordinary heights. Chapter 2. The Biological Trap: Why Your Brain Wants You to Fail. Why is discipline so hard? Is there something wrong with us? The book identifies that the primary culprit is our own biology. Our brains are not designed for the 21st century. They are designed for the Stone Age. Biologically, our brains are wired for survival, not success. The author takes us into the anatomy of the brain, specifically the conflict between the limbic system and the prefrontal cortex. The limbic system is the ancient lizard part of our brain. It seeks pleasure and avoids pain at all costs. In the wild, this was vital. It wanted you to eat every high-calorie fruit you found and stay in the cave because energy conservation meant survival. The prefrontal cortex, however, is the human part of our brain. It is responsible for long-term planning, logic, and discipline. The problem is that the limbic system is much older and faster. When you see a piece of cake, your limbic system screams, "Eat it!" before your prefrontal cortex can even begin to calculate the calorie impact. Psychologically, we also suffer from decision fatigue. Every choice we make throughout the day, from what to wear to what to eat for lunch, drains our reservoir of willpower. By the time evening rolls around, our prefrontal cortex is exhausted and the limbic system takes over. This is why most people ruin their diets at night or skip the gym after work. The book argues that we don't necessarily lack willpower. We are simply losing a war against a world designed to make us impulsive. We are living in a dopamine-drenched world. Every like on Instagram, every level up in a video game, and every bite of processed food is a hit of dopamine that tells our brain, this is good, do this again. This creates a loop where we become addicted to the easy dopamine, making the hard work of discipline feel physically painful. To unleash discipline, we must learn to manage these biological urges rather than being controlled by them.
Chapter 3: The Power of Purpose, Finding Your Why. Discipline without a why is just misery. You cannot force yourself to do something difficult indefinitely if there is no deep-seated reason behind it. The author emphasizes that the foundation of a disciplined mindset is a clear and compelling vision. When your why is strong enough, the how becomes manageable. Most people set superficial goals. They say, I want to lose weight, or I want to make more money. These goals are weak because they lack emotional weight. They don't provide the fuel needed when you are tired, hungry, or discouraged. To unleash true discipline, you need to dig much deeper. The book introduces an exercise, the 5 whys. If you say you want to be successful in business, ask yourself why. If the answer is to make money, ask why you want money. If the answer is to have security, ask why security is important to you. Eventually, you might find that your true why is that you grew up in poverty and never want your children to feel the fear of an empty fridge. That is a why that will get you out of bed at 5 a.m. When you connect your daily disciplined actions to a core value or a burning desire, the resistance starts to fade. Discipline becomes the bridge between where you are and the person you are desperate to become. You aren't suffering through a workout, you are investing in the version of you that is healthy enough to play with your grandkids. Changing your vocabulary from I have to I get to is a hallmark of the disciplined mindset. Chapter 4: Breaking the Habit of Procrastination and the 5-Minute Rule. Procrastination is often misunderstood as laziness, but the book identifies it as a sophisticated defense mechanism. It is the silent killer of dreams. We procrastinate because the task in front of us creates anxiety, boredom, or a fear of failure. To avoid these negative emotions, our brain seeks a mood repair through distraction. Think about the last time you had a big project. You didn't just sit there doing nothing. You cleaned the house, checked emails, or organized your desk. You were being busy to avoid being productive. This is because the big project felt overwhelming and your brain wanted an easy win to feel better. The book offers a powerful antidote, the 5-minute rule. The rule states that the hardest part of any task is the initiation phase, overcoming the static friction of starting. When you feel the urge to procrastinate, tell yourself you will work on the task for just 5 minutes. That's it, just 5 minutes. By setting the bar so low, you bypass the brain's fear response. Usually, once you start, the Zeigarnik effect kicks in. This is a psychological phenomenon where our brains want to finish what they have started. Once you break the seal of resistance, your brain enters a state of flow, and continuing becomes much easier. Additionally, the book suggests breaking large, intimidating goals into micro-tasks. Instead of write a 5,000-word script, make the task write the first sentence. By lowering the barrier to entry, you stop the emotional overwhelm that leads to procrastination. You learn to focus on the next step, not the mountaintop. Chapter 5: Managing Your Environment for Success, the Choice Architecture. One of the most profound insights in the book is that discipline is often a product of your surroundings. We like to think we are in control of our choices, but we are actually highly influenced by the path of least resistance. If you have to use willpower to resist a bowl of candy on your desk every 5 minutes, you will eventually fail. Willpower is a finite battery, and every time you resist, you drain it. A disciplined person doesn't necessarily have more willpower. They simply design an environment that requires less of it. The author introduces the concept of choice architecture. This means arranging your world so that the right choice is the easy choice and the wrong choice is the hard choice. If you want to eat healthy, you don't just try harder, you remove junk food from your house entirely. If you want to work without distraction, you don't just try to focus, you put your phone in another room or use a website blocker. This is called friction-loading bad habits and friction-reducing good habits. Imagine you want to go to the gym in the morning. A disciplined person will lay out their gym clothes and shoes right next to the bed the night before. This reduces the friction of having to find clothes half asleep. Conversely, if you want to stop watching so much TV, you might take the batteries out of the remote and put them in a different room. By increasing the effort it takes to do the bad habit, you allow your logical mind time to step in and stop the impulse. You stop fighting yourself and start letting your environment pull you towards your goals.
Chapter 6: The Science of Habit Formation and the Success Identity. Discipline gets you started, but habits keep you going. The book delves into the mechanics of how the brain automates behavior. This is the habit loop, consisting of a trigger, a routine, and a reward. To build a disciplined life, you must master the art of habit stacking. Habit stacking involves taking a habit you already have, something as simple as brushing your teeth or drinking coffee, and stacking a new disciplined habit on top of it. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will write down my top 3 priorities for the day. By anchoring the new behavior to an established one, you use the brain's existing neural pathways to build new ones. The author emphasizes that consistency is infinitely more important than intensity. It's better to work out for 15 minutes every single day than for 3 hours once a week. Why? Because the 15-minute workout builds the success identity. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. If you say you will read 1 page and you do it, you are telling your brain, I am a reader. If you show up to the gym even when you're tired, you are telling yourself, I am an athlete. Over time, these small actions compound. Eventually, you don't need discipline to go to the gym because it has become part of your identity. You go because that's who you are. This is the stage where discipline becomes effortless. Chapter 7: Developing Mental Toughness and the 40% Rule. A disciplined life is not a perfect life. You will fail. You will have days where everything goes wrong and you want to quit. This chapter focuses on mental toughness, the ability to stay the course when the initial excitement has faded and the grind begins. The author introduces the 40% rule, a concept popularized by Navy SEALs. The rule suggests that when your mind tells you that you're finished, when you feel like you've reached your absolute limit, you're actually only at about 40% of your actual capacity. Your mind creates a governor, much like a car engine, to prevent you from getting hurt. Mental toughness is the ability to acknowledge that governor and push past it. Resilience is built by intentionally seeking discomfort. The book calls this voluntary hardship. In our modern world, we are too comfortable. We have climate control, instant food, and soft beds. When we face even a small amount of stress, we crumble. To unleash discipline, you must callous your mind. This can be done through small daily acts of intentional suffering, take a cold shower, fast for 16 hours, run an extra mile when you're already tired. These aren't just physical exercises, they are psychological ones. They teach you that you can survive discomfort. When you realize that discomfort is not an emergency, you become unstoppable. You stop being afraid of hard work and start seeing it as a necessary price for greatness. Chapter 8. The Physical Pillars of Discipline, Fueling the Engine. One of the most overlooked aspects of discipline is the physical state of the body. You cannot have a disciplined mind in a neglected body. The book makes a scientific case for the physical foundation of willpower. First, let's talk about sleep. Sleep deprivation is the fastest way to kill your discipline. When you are sleep deprived, your prefrontal cortex, the seat of your willpower, loses its ability to function. It mimics the effects of being drunk. You become more impulsive, more irritable, and more likely to give in to cravings. If you are not sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night, you are fighting an uphill battle with your own biology. You are essentially trying to drive a car with no oil in the engine. Second is nutrition. The brain is a high-energy organ. It requires a steady supply of glucose to function. When you eat high-sugar, processed foods, your blood sugar spikes and then crashes. During that crash, your willpower vanishes. You become hangry and lose focus. The book recommends a diet rich in whole foods that provides sustained energy. Finally, exercise. Exercise is described as the keystone habit. Research shows that when people start exercising regularly, they also start eating better, smoking less, and being more productive at work. Why? Because exercise is the ultimate practice for discipline. It is a physical manifestation of the delayed gratification principle. You endure pain now for a reward later. This mindset spills over into every other area of your life. If you can force yourself to do a set of heavy squats, you can force yourself to finish a difficult report.
Chapter 9. Time Management, Deep Work, and Extreme Focus. In the age of the attention economy, the ability to focus is becoming a rare and valuable superpower. The book argues that most people aren't actually busy, they're just distracted. We spend our days in a state of pseudo-work, checking emails, attending unnecessary meetings, and shuffling papers while avoiding the real, difficult work that moves the needle. The author introduces the concept of deep work. Deep work is the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. It is the type of work that creates real value. To unleash this, you must learn to prioritize ruthlessly. The book suggests the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle. 80% of your results come from 20% of your activities. Disciplined people identify that vital 20% and protect it at all costs. They use techniques like time blocking, where specific hours of the day are dedicated to deep work and everything else is blocked out. During these blocks, you must enter monk mode. No phone, no internet unless necessary, no interruptions. It takes about 20 minutes to reach a state of deep focus, but every time you check a text message, you reset that clock. This is called context switching cost. By eliminating these costs, a disciplined person can get more done in 2 hours than a distracted person gets done in 8. Discipline is not about working more hours, it's about making the hours you work count. Chapter 10. The Long-Term Vision, Sustaining the Mindset for Life. The final chapter addresses a common trap, the arrival fallacy. This is the idea that once you reach a certain goal, once you lose 20 pounds or make $1 million, you will finally be done and can stop being disciplined. The author warns that discipline is a lifelong journey, not a destination. It is a way of being, not a task to be completed. To sustain a disciplined mindset for decades, you must learn to fall in love with the process, not just the result. You must find joy in the grind. The book encourages readers to celebrate the boring wins. The days when you didn't feel like doing the work, when the weather was bad, when your motivation was zero, but you did it anyway. Those are the days that define your character. Those are the days where the real growth happens. The author also discusses the importance of self-compassion. Being disciplined does not mean being a tyrant to yourself. If you slip up, and you will, the disciplined move is not to beat yourself up and quit. The disciplined move is to acknowledge the mistake, learn from it, and get back on track immediately. The difference between a winner and a loser is not that the winner never falls, it's that the winner gets up faster. The book concludes with a powerful reminder: you are the creator of your own destiny. You are not a victim of your circumstances, your genes, or your past. By mastering your mind and unleashing your discipline, you stop being a spectator in your own life and start being the lead actor. You have the power to change your trajectory at any moment. The discipline you build today is the freedom you will enjoy tomorrow. Summary and final thoughts. Self-discipline mindset. Why self-discipline is lacking in most and how to unleash it now is more than a book. It's a manual for human excellence. We've covered a vast landscape today. We've learned that discipline is the truest form of freedom. We've explored the biological reasons why our brains fight us and the psychological tools like the 5-minute rule to fight back. We've seen how environment design is more effective than sheer willpower and how habits eventually turn discipline into an identity. We've talked about the physical pillars of sleep and nutrition, the mental toughness of the 40% rule, and the productivity power of deep work. The gap between the life you have and the life you want is called discipline. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about making the hard choice when the easy choice is screaming for your attention. You now have the knowledge, you have the roadmap, but knowledge without action is just a daydream. The real work starts the moment you stop listening to this podcast. What is the one thing you've been putting off? What is the one habit you know you need to start? Do it now. Use the 5-minute rule. Change your environment. Prove to yourself right now that you are in control. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive here at Bookmint. We hope this summary has provided you with the sparks you need to ignite a fire of discipline in your life. If you found this valuable, please hit that like button. It helps us reach more people who are looking to improve their lives. Share this video with a friend or colleague who needs that extra push. And most importantly, subscribe to Bookmint and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into the books that can change your world. Your potential is limitless, but it requires discipline to unlock. Until next time, stay focused, stay resilient, and keep growing. This is Bookmint, signing off.